Imagine being on a 4-day whirlwind tour of all the major attractions in Orlando, like SeaWorld and Universal Studios, the world of Harry Potter, Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and so on. And you discover that you've forgotten your itinerary. So every day you have no clue where you're going, what you're going to see, or where you're going to eat. That would create a little bit of anxiety and stress for most folks, wouldn't it? Well, that's how many of our learners, our children who have hidden disabilities, feel about life on a daily basis. So today, this key ministry presentation is going to talk about visual schedules and how they can help reduce the anxiety and stress associated with not knowing. Why use visual schedules? Well, one good reason why a lot of research and articles show that it's considered best practice to use visual schedules for certain learners. It builds on a common strength for a child with hidden disabilities, disabilities such as ADHD, autism, and learning disabilities. And that common strength is their visual abilities. For many kids with hidden disabilities, their visual modality is stronger than their auditory modality. So if you were going to communicate information, doing it visually would definitely be a great idea. Some other reasons: it improves a child's understanding by providing information in a visual and structured and sequential way. You'll see what I'm talking about in a few more slides. Visual schedules can help children to function independently. Now that you're presenting information in a visual format, it allows them to be more independent. And by doing that, your children can gain confidence and build self-esteem, and it allows them to be more successful in your classroom and church. Visual schedules provide a wide variety of information. They can provide information pertaining to what events are going to occur, the order that events or the sequence that events will occur, new activities that may occur. And this is important for some of our kids with hidden disabilities because they can become very anxious when anything new is introduced. Any changes that might occur during regular activities that occur in your Sunday school classroom or in Sunday mornings at church. Again, change can be a source of anxiety or stress, and visual schedules can communicate that change ahead of time and thereby reduce anxiety and stress. And also, visual schedules can provide information about when it is time to transition from one event to another. Visual schedules are a great tool for increasing predictability. With the use of visual schedules, you can establish the concept of when an activity is finished, when worship service is over, when the Sunday school classroom is over, when youth group is over. Sequencing pictures in a visual format, again as we'll look at in a slide or two, can help increase the predictability of when an activity is finished. Visual schedules increase predictability by helping to establish or set expectations. What are the expectations for someone's behavior in a worship service, or in a Sunday school classroom, or at a youth group activity? By communicating that information visually, you help that student understand what the expectations are going to be. Visual schedules increase predictability by decreasing surprises. Again, because that information is going to be known ahead of time in a visual format, the surprise element is taking out of any changes or something new, or what expectations might be, and things along those lines. Visual schedules can be used to establish routines. What's the sequence of events that occur for a child with a hidden disability once they show up on Sunday morning at your church? Do they go to the bathroom first, and then the Sunday school classroom, and then the worship service? Or will they just go to the worship service? And after that, will there be an opportunity to have a snack? Well, visual schedules increase the predictability for that child of knowing what's going to happen by being able to establish routines through a visual format. And visual schedules increase predictability by helping a student or a child to understand any transitions, any movement from point A to point B in your church facility or building. Some kids become very anxious or nervous because they're not knowing where they're going next. So that transition might be a challenging one, but through the use of a visual schedule, a student or child can know ahead of time that transition. I will be moving from here to there, from the Sunday school classroom to the worship service, and therefore it increases predictability in that sense. So let's talk about how to construct a visual schedule. It's a very easy thing. First thing that you want to do is to identify the main events in that child or learner's day. So whether you're putting together a visual schedule that will be used for a couple of hours at church, or half a day at home, or a full day of school, you need to identify all of the events that will occur during that specific time frame. The next thing is you want to decide how much information that your child, your student, can handle at one time. If there were 10 events, let's say, or activities that will occur, should you put a visual picture that represents all of those activities on the schedule at once? Or do you need to break that down into smaller increments, perhaps only displaying 3 to 5 events at any one time? Well, this is going to be based on how much information that you think that your child, that your student can handle at one time. The next thing is that you want to determine what developmental visual stage that your child or your learner is at. And this is typically the developmental sequence, the visual developmental sequence here. Starting from when you're a baby and a toddler growing into an older child, typically you understand objects first. You understand the three-dimensional world first, the actual chair or an actual table that you can put your hands on. You can feel it, you can touch it. You understand objects first. The next thing developmentally in the visual stage that you understand are photographs of actual objects. So a picture of an aunt or an uncle that represents the actual aunt or uncle is very easily understood, and that comes next in the developmental visual stage. Then after that, more abstract pictures is what you tend to understand in a visual modality next. You know, a line drawing or a cartoon picture of a dog, people understand represent an actual dog in the real world. And then the last visual developmental stage is the text stage. People understand that the word dog means dog, and that represents this four-legged animal that I have running around my house. So text is the last visual developmental stage. Well, I say all that to say this. Your visual schedule should be very individualized for your student or your child. If that student or child is not at the text visual stage, then you wouldn't want to use words, you'd want to use pictures. But if someone's not at the photo stage, you might find that you have to use actual objects in creating your visual schedule. And if you have any more questions about this, go to our website, send us an email so that we can have a more in-depth discussion about this particular topic. Continuing to talk about how to construct a visual schedule. Next, you want to take a digital camera and take a picture of every event or activity that you've identified. After that, you want to print those pictures out. Find yourself a laminating machine. A lot of times at Home Office Depot or Office Max, if you work in a school district, they typically have laminating machines there. A lot of times your church will have a laminating machine. You could take it to one of these locations to get your pictures laminated, or use like that clear contact paper That's kind of challenging. I've tried to do that before. I prefer a laminating machine, but you want to laminate the pictures that you're going to use because by laminating the pictures, you make them much more durable. They can be taken off and put on. They might follow the floor. You can pick them up. They don't tear or crumble very easy. So laminating the pictures, very important step. Then you want to place a piece of Velcro on the back of each picture. Now that's important because you're going to take a cardstock piece of paper, and this can vary in size. You could have a small visual schedule with fewer pictures or a larger visual schedule with many pictures. That will determine how big or small this piece of paper needs to be. But you're also going to laminate that cardstock. Now cardstock paper tends to be thicker than regular printer type or typing type paper. So I recommend a cardstock type thickness of paper. Make sure that you laminate that also. How to construct a visual schedule. You want to arrange the pictures in sequential order on the cardstock piece of paper. The pictures that you've used to represent the activities or events that are going to occur, place them in their sequential order from left to right, preferably, on the piece of cardstock paper. And then what you're going to do is you're going to attach a piece of Velcro to the cardstock paper immediately below those pictures so that you've placed in sequential order. So you're going to have a piece of Velcro on the back of your picture. You're going to arrange your pictures on that laminated cardstock paper with equal spacing in between them, whether it's 3 pictures or 10 pictures, whatever the case may be. And then right below where you have that picture, that is where you're going to attach another piece of Velcro, because that's the way that you're going to be able to put the pictures on that cardstock or pull them off to rearrange the order or to use for a different day. As your learner uses the schedule throughout the day, he should be manipulating it in some way to show that it is changing as activities are completed. He or she can remove the symbols or turn them over or cross them off in a way to indicate that activities are finished. So in this example here, you see that this is a 3-picture visual schedule. First, the learner is going to play with Play-Doh. Then after that, they're going to go to snack, and after that, he's going to get a choice. Well, after I've determined that Play-Doh or playing with Play-Doh, that particular time frame is over with, I'm going to show the visual schedule to the learner and have them remove that picture from the visual schedule and give it to me or set it down or put it in an envelope. But it's going to come off of that visual schedule, which would show that that activity is over. And then when you look at what the next picture would be on there, it's snack time. So that's the perfect time to say it's time for snack. And you have a picture to represent that activity. And after snack, you get to make a choice about something that you want to do. So it shows what even happens after that. After snack time was over, you would show the visual schedule to the learner, have them remove that snack picture and say snack time is over. Now you get to make a choice. So as you remove pictures from this, it tells the learner what's over, what's coming next, and with the amount of pictures that are left, it also helps them to learn how much more time is left for using this visual schedule. Here's an example of one that we use with an elementary school student. Again, at certain times of the day, your learner may have an opportunity to make a choice between activities, and that can be depicted by placing those choices side by side on the schedule so that your learner comes to know that this is a time for choice. And you see in Josh's example here, working from the top to the bottom, at some point in that day, there's a choice between playing basketball or playing on the computer. Now, for everything else is a mandatory event or activity or routine that he's going to participate in, but at that particular point in time, he gets to make a choice. And notice the envelope at the bottom of Josh's schedule. That's where we're going to put those pictures. As he pulls the top picture off to indicate that reading time is over, we're going to say reading time is over. Take that picture off, put it in the envelope, and say, oh, looks like science is next. Let's go to science. And again, as each activity or event is over, we'll take the picture off, put it away, so that the learner knows what's going to come next and what's left for the remainder of the day. And how much of the day is left is more easily determined by the number of pictures that's left on the board. Here's an example of an object visual schedule. Again, you can see that this one goes from left to right, and in this case we're using objects to represent the activities or events that will occur, and we will remove these objects one by one as each activity or event is done to help the learner know what was completed and what comes next, and also how many remaining things are there to do within this course of time that we're using this visual schedule. At Key Ministry, our mission is to help to build bridges that connect churches with families of children with hidden disabilities. If you have any other questions on this topic or a related topic or another question in general, go to our website, www.keyministry.org, and send us an email or give us a call at 440-708-4488.